We will begin. Today is March 18th. It is right now 8:45, and so the Minnesota State Senate Education Finance Committee will now come to order. Today we're going to hear Senate File 4505, a presentation on compensatory aid, and then Senate File 4368. Our first bill is presented by Senator Mohamed. Welcome to our committee. The intention of your bill, Senate File 4505, is to lay it over for possible inclusion in a future omnibus bill. And Senator Westland, would you like to move Senate File 4505 before the committee?
So moved.
Thank you. Senator, please introduce your bill.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and good morning, members. Before you is Senate File 4505. In 2023, the legislature made a historic commitment of dedicated funding to close the dangerous gap in mental health support in Minnesota schools. We know our school systems are thousands of mental health professionals short of fully serving students, which have only grown in the years of the pandemic and the growth of social media. These funds are used to hire school nurses, social workers, counselors, and mental health experts in every district and charter schools in our state. There has been a lot of discussion this session of improving both student outcomes and student safety. These essential workers are on the front lines of the fight to do both. I'd like to quote from a report published in May 2025 by a researcher at the University of Minnesota College of Education and Human Development, describing the situation they found in Minnesota youth. I quote, "Many educators and school leaders feel unprepared to address the growing mental health needs of students and staff. Parents often recognize these challenges in their children, but report limited access in accessing the appropriate support. Our investment from 2023 are starting to make progress in staff levels and student outcomes, but we started from a terrible position and we are not out of it. Entering this current school year, Minnesota has 558 students for every one counselor, one of the worst ratios in America. In some elementary and middle school systems, a counselor can be trying to serve 1,000 students. That's impossible. We're setting up that counselor and those students to fail. Putting adequate psychologists, nurses, counselors, and social workers in schools is an investment in improving our education, in the near-term future of those kids and the long-term success of our state. Out of all the priorities competing for dollars this session, I can't think of anything better." And Madam Chair, with that, we'll go to testifiers.
Thank you so much for that. So first we have Margaret Sita, if you would like to join us at the table, and Becca Dryden.
Good morning, Chair Kunesh and committee members. My name is Margaret Sitta. I'm a high school counselor in my 13th year at Two Rivers High School in the West St. Paul, Mendota Heights, Eagan District. I'm here to testify in support of Senate File 4505, which will restore funding to student support personnel aid. As long as I've been a school counselor, counselors have advocated to have a regular, predictable source of funding for our colleagues. When this legislation was passed in 2023, we celebrated. Thankful legislators had heard the importance of fully staffing mental and physical health teams in schools. The original legislation wasn't full staffing, but it was a step forward. Then last year, as part of a difficult budget and cuts to our schools and our health and human services, this funding was cut off, defunded by almost $15 million a year. Schools that had been planning on increasing staffing had to let positions go and rescind job offers. The bill before you today would simply return Minnesota to where we were at the end of the legislative session in 2023 and provide $48 a pupil to fund school counselors, school social workers, school psychologists, and school nurses. Minnesota is consistently one of the worst ranked states in student-to-school counselor ratios and is currently 48th in the nation. In the 24-25 school year, over 200 schools had no school counselor whatsoever, and hundreds more have only a part-time counselor. It's hard for me to sum up what a day as a school counselor looks like. I love my job, and every day is different. The 3 domains of school counseling, academic, career, and social emotional development are intertwined. Yesterday, for example, I helped students sign up for credit recovery summer school and then helped them make to-do lists so they improved their performance this semester. I worked with a couple of students trying to troubleshoot how to be more successful in their language arts class and how to brave asking their teacher for help. I met with a student navigating excessive absences, which have increased because her mom's cancer has returned. I had video meetings with 2 of my students who opted to finish their senior year online due to Operation Metro Surge. We talked about financial aid applications, college plans, keeping up with homework, and their mental health. I love my job, but when student needs are high, like they have been this year, my work is more reactive than proactive. Every day, I have to prioritize meeting student needs that are all important. I know many of my colleagues across all levels share that sentiment, contributing to burnout and compassion fatigue. Our neighboring states have mandates for school counselors. Wisconsin has a counselor in every building. Iowa requires a counselor for every 350 students, and North Dakota requires a counselor for every 250 students. These ratios make a difference for the lasting mental health and academic success of our students. Minnesota students deserve access to a school counselor from the start of their education. My elementary and middle school colleagues are doing incredible work to help students build academic skills, learn to manage their emotions and relationships, and begin considering their career choices. School counselors deserve to be supported by the state as we support our youngest Minnesotans. Thank you for your time, and I ask you to support Senate File 4505. Our students deserve at least $48.
Thank you so much, Ms. Seed. I agree. They deserve much more, and I want to just say thank you very much for all the hard work that you school counselors do across our state. These are not easy times, and they've never been quite at the capacity that we have right now, and so I just want to say thank you to you and to all of our school counselors. All right, next we have Becca Dryden. If you'd state your name for the record, and you may begin.
Hi, my name's Becca Dryden. I'm a parent organizer with Minneapolis Families for Public Schools, a parent of 2 MPS elementary schoolers, and a resident of SD 63. In the past 6 years, our students have experienced so many unprecedented moments, all of which have dramatically impacted their childhoods in ways we don't fully understand yet. My oldest child and his now 5th grade peers started kindergarten on the computer. My other child was 2 when our world locked down. Every educator I've spoken to has acknowledged the impact of experiencing these pivotal moments in childhood in the midst of a global crisis. Since working to recover from the losses experienced during COVID, Minnesotan kids have also lived through citywide social unrest, the political assassination of one of our state's leaders, a mass school shooting, heightened political tensions and violence, and the recent federal activity across the state. As a parent, it has been utterly exhausting to try and manage crisis after crisis while showing up for my kids. This generation of kids needs mental health support if we expect them to perform at school, and we do expect them to perform at school. Student support services personnel are tasked with meeting these needs. These are the people who intervene when students are in crisis, who went to work the day after the Annunciation shooting and accompanied students through fear and grief, and who have spent the last 3 months managing grocery deliveries, delivering hotspots for students sheltering in place, trying to find children and families that have gone missing, and helping students process their experiences. And yet, our public schools have been chronically underfunded, and these vital positions are often the first to experience cuts. Our schools desperately need funding for these roles so that students have the resources and supports they deserve and need to learn. I can think of no better investment this state could make than in the well-being of our children. They have already endured so much during their lives, and we have the opportunity and responsibility to provide them the support they need to take on their futures. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Dryden, and thank you for the families and the parents in Minneapolis that stepped up to make sure that our families had what they needed during this time. Next, we have Allison Salzman and then Caitlin Snyder, if you'd like to join us. And then just state your name for the record and you can begin.
Yes. Hello, my name is Allison Salzman, and I'm a proud parent of 2 Minneapolis public school students, a resident in SD 61 and a member of Minneapolis Families for Public Schools. For the last 4 years, I have sat through our elementary school's budget meetings in anticipation of this year's cuts to my school's programming or staffing. Our creative administrators are at their limit for shifting money around. Us parents feel the need to appeal to the power of the state. It's within this context that I come to you about the importance of mental health supports for students. Currently, my elementary student needs mental health support from a licensed therapist for a neurodevelopmental disorder. Because our school's therapist had a long waiting list, we sought private services. We found a therapist that takes our insurance, but is a 20-minute drive in light traffic away. We feel fortunate to have found this therapist when we did, to know they take our insurance and is relatively close to our home and school. We are lucky she takes after 5 p.m. appointments, as both my husband and I work full-time. We represent this ideal situation where all variables align so we are able to provide weekly support for our child, and it is still an extra layer of logistics for my already busy family. Availability, proximity, insurance, and scheduling are major barriers for parents. School supports remove most of these barriers and allow students in need to gain access. I am a product of Minnesota's public school system, having attended elementary school in Clara City and Montevideo, as well as middle school and high school in Montevideo. I'm proud of my rural public education background in your district, Senator Lang. We know that rural communities are especially hit by a lack of access to mental health services, and our public schools are an anecdote to that. Challenging life events or conditions from birth can affect students' need for services, no matter what their zip code happens to be. Public school students from across the state deserve to be seen as whole, complex humans. I implore this committee to support SF 4505 to provide more pure people funding for mental health supports.
Thank you so much for your advocacy for school support and especially the support for our school kids. Thank you. Next, Ms. Snyder, if you'd like to introduce yourself, you may begin.
Madam Chair and members, my name is Caitlin Snyder. I represent Education Minnesota and 84,000 school employees across the state. We are happy to be here today in support of Senate File 4505. Depending on the day, there are 2 top predictors for academic success for students. The first is having a strong relationship with somebody in the school building. For me, that was my school nurse who knew the difference between when I had strep and when I was sick because I didn't want to go to Phi-Ed, and who told my parents that when I was complaining about a jaw ache, it was actually because I needed to go to the dentist. That woman saw me and supported me more than anyone else in my career as a student. The second piece that's important for academic success is having stable housing. And the folks that called out in this bill, our school social workers, our school counselors, our school psychologists, our school nurses, are the people who help our students access housing if they're unstably housed. The one piece that's important about this bill is that you want to have a fully staffed team of mental health and physical health supports. The school psychologist is helping our students get identified for IEPs. Our school nurses might be the only medical care some students are seeing. School social workers helping with housing and deeper needs, and our school counselors providing a lot of Tier 1 supports to our kids. So happy to be here today in support and want to see full funding for our licensed personnel across the state. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Snyder. That concludes our testifiers. Members, any questions or comments? Senator Farnsworth.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I just want to make sure that I'm clear. This maybe is more of a question for staff, but it looks like the total estimated change in aid from current law will only affect schools with roughly 900 or more students. It looks like most of the smaller schools, their aid won't be changed. Is that accurate, or am I misreading that?
We'll ask Mr. Arneson to share that information with us.
Madam Chair and Senator Farnsworth, yes, because under current law, each district has at least a $40,000 minimum aid amount. There is a break-even point where the per pupil allowance for a small district generates less aid than that $40,000 minimum. So I haven't calculated what it is under the proposal, but I'm happy to do that. And but in general, your observation is correct.
Follow-up, Senator?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. And I guess my critique of this would be small schools have a harder time with flexibility. For example, I'll just use Moose Lake in Senator Rarick's district. They have 629 students. I mean, maybe in their high school they have 1 or 2 social studies teacher that's trying to meet all of the grad standards. They might have 1 or 2 math teachers in their high school. And so they're already stretched thin to try and meet all of the standards that the legislature has put on them. And so I would argue that these school districts would need more aid in order to be able to provide the services that students need. I mean, Minneapolis, their increase is $500,000, or $600,000 in order to provide this when they've already got more flexibility. I mean, a high school in Minneapolis probably has 10 social studies teachers, so they can meet the new civics requirement a lot easier than a small school. They probably have 10 math teachers. And, but these small schools don't have that. They don't have that flexibility. And so I think, looking at this, mental health in small schools is just as important as it is in large schools. And so I think that's something to look at. And the other thing that I noticed is all the testifiers, said that every student deserves access to mental health help. And so I hope that means that this committee will support Senator Rarick's bill from yesterday that was trying to make sure that all students in Minnesota get mental health support. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Senator Lucero.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I appreciate Senator Mohamed, this bill and this conversation overall. And I'm just going to muse a little bit here. So as we are considering this topic, mental health professionals in the school, as we consider many other topics related to the academic success of young people in school, I'm thinking to myself, as time is going on here, we are increasing the services, the support from a government perspective that I think most people agree is necessary for success, academic success of young people. And I'm thinking, we're increasing breakfast and lunch. We're increasing in this case, the mental health professionals and all the services that surround. But as time is going on here, I'm thinking to myself, what is happening here? What is changing? And I guess I asked this question on a different bill last week or week before, but what is changing in society that necessitates government essentially to backfill the conditions and provide that support that previously was being provided before? And I'm thinking in the conversation here, stressors in young people, the forces that create conditions of stress are not new in our nation's history, let alone the world history for young people and people of all age. And I was just trying to brainstorm here in our nation's history, even just, so not even the totality of the last 250 years, but just recent history. A couple that I came up with here are the Great Depression, right? Think of the stressors that young people would have had to endure while living through the Great Depression, or World War I, World War II. One, when I was younger, would have been the Jacob Wetterling kidnapping, for those who might even remember that. That was a stressor that was put onto parents and in wanting to protect their children, and then myself, I think I was 2nd or 3rd grade at the time. The changes that happened in terms of monitoring and protection, but certainly a stressor the young people had to endure. And then I have the September 11 attacks that I'm thinking, think of all the stress that created throughout society, let alone young people, and then the aftermath of that. There's the Oklahoma city bombing, or Oklahoma, the government building there. And then there's the Cold War, which for the most part, I lived on the tail end of that, but I've seen the pictures and the videos of the day of young people in school having to go through these drills of going under the desks and, the constant threat of a nuclear war or the Soviet Union firing something. So stressors aren't new. That's not new. The question is, how were those stresses dealt with in decades past? And whatever the answer is, why is that not happening now? Whether it be a parental perspective or other organizations in the community providing that support. And why are we now at a position where government continues to have to use tax dollars to backfill potentially the absence of whatever the solutions were in the past? So again, it's not a question, Madam Chair, but it's just as we consider this bill and others, the logical extension of where we're going here, it will not be possible for government to satisfy all of these needs that young people need to create the conditions for the best possible academic success. So part of the conversation needs to be not just appropriating dollars, but what can we do from a non-government perspective to provide these solutions to ensure success for our students? Again, Madam Chair, just thoughts, not necessarily a question. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Lucero. If you have any ideas, share with us. We'd like to know. Next, we have Senator Holstrom.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to address some comments from the lobbyist from Education Minnesota. She had stated that full funding for licensed personnel across the state is something we need to prioritize. And I feel like I'm living in Groundhog's Day, a bad movie. Just yesterday, we put forward a bill to better fund these licensed personnel across the state, and Education Minnesota came here and testified against that concept, and now today they're testifying the exact opposite of what they're doing, and I don't understand how we can have a testifier that's willing to be so dishonest in front of this committee and not call that out. So it needs to be stated, and I'm making that statement now.
I'm not going to thank you, Senator, but I do want to remind you about protocol in this committee and using disparaging remarks like that for anybody, whether it's a member of our legislature or a guest here or a testifier. So in the future, I would appreciate if you would not do that. Thank you. Senator Rarick.
Well, thank you, Madam Chair. And before I get going, so I can get passed out, I'd like to offer an A1 amendment. And I don't know if you want me to speak to it.
Yeah, why don't you speak to it while it's getting handed out?
Okay. All right. Thank you, Madam Chair. So we've talked about this before. So many of our small schools, we know the need for these services. But the example that I used when this first happened, I had two small schools that partnered together to pool their money together to hire someone, and not a single person even applied for the position, and those schools had to send the money back. And I believe it was just last year, that we made a provision to allow this money to be used for some other types of things like transportation between buildings or something for personnel. So the language that I'm proposing to add into that portion would give flexibility to our school boards to not have to send this money back, but to be able to use it within the school to improve student health, school safety, and school climate as the board would determine. So not just leaving it open-ended where they could use it however they wanted, they would still have to use it kind of within this realm of the student supports, student health, but it would give them flexibility if they do not have if no one applied, and that we put it in the area underneath C where they can only do this if people did not apply at the school to fill one of these positions. So it would have to go to that first. They could not use the money for something else if they hadn't posted a position, and if people had applied to fill that position, the money would have to go there first. But if those circumstances weren't met, the school could use this money in a different way that they would feel would help support their students.
Thank you, Senator Burke. Senator Swedzinski, did you want to speak to this amendment or to the bill? To the bill. Okay, thank you. Senator Mohamed, do you have a response to the A1 amendment?
I do. Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Senator Rarick, for the amendment. Although I certainly understand where it's coming from, I just got this amendment, and I wish you had sent it to me like the night before so we could have discussed it. So I'm going to ask members to vote against it with the intention of working with you before the bill passes in its final passage.
Senator Rarick.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. And yes, I was just working with our staff to get this together. Didn't have time to come to you, but so I do appreciate, I think this will be good for our schools, so want to continue to work with you and the members of the committee to try to incorporate this in.
Okay, thank you. All right, Senator Gustafson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just question, where does this go afterward, after this committee? Is it just
we're laying it over?
Okay, I'm sorry if I mentioned that. And then, sorry, I wrote it down and I'll come back. I can't remember my other question. Thank you.
Is it to the amendment or to the bill?
It was, but it's fine.
Okay, thank you. Senator Rarick.
Thank you. With the knowing that you'll work with me and stuff, I will withdraw the amendment, but we'll continue to work with folks on it.
Great, thank you so much. Members, any final words? Senator Swedzinski.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Senator Mohamed, for bringing this bill forward. There's a lot going on right now, and I really appreciate Senator Lucero's comments about what is going on, why, and it's a rhetorical insight on his part, but, you know, during the Great Depression, what were kids thinking? What were they going through? And, you know, during the Vietnam War, in my world of, you know, how did that impact our access to counselors? And anyways, it's got me thinking a lot. And the last couple of days, it seems like we've heard more and more about school climate. And Senator Rarick's bill talks, what he wants to add to the bill is school climate. And I don't know of a more important critical person in the school that sets the climate more than the high school counselor, middle school counselor, grade school counselor. That person probably has the greatest impact on establishing a positive, upbeat, wonderful school climate. And when the testifier from West St. Paul said South Dakota schools require a 250-to-1. Iowa is 350-to-1. Wisconsin, every building has to have a counselor, and we don't have anything like that in Minnesota. And I used to, my first year here 10 years ago, I do believe we were 46th or 44th or 45th in the nation, high school student to counselor ratios. And recently I found out we're 48th now. And I'm just aghast, I'm dumbfounded, how did we go backwards? Because again, I would argue that the high school counselor, we picture the traditional high school counselor as sitting in their office meeting students at scheduled times to talk to them about their post-secondary plans and to make sure their credits are where they should be and how are they doing with issues of their mental health and well-being. And we picture this traditional role of a high school counselor, and we forget the little things that the high school counselor does. And the anecdote I'd love to share with you is when I was teaching, I had a horrible or wonderful reputation of being really kind of mean on kids that came late to class. And I didn't tolerate it, I didn't accept it. And so one of the counselors got up from her desk in her office one day and came to see me before school. And she just said, Swad, one of your students is homeless and they probably don't have an alarm clock in their car where they're sleeping right now. And I just wanted to bring to your awareness, if he comes late, cut him some slack. And where is that in the role of the high school counselor? Where is that in Counseling 101 when they're getting their counseling degree? And yet that's the role they play. And making sure that staff and the teachers are aware of where are we at right now? 1 out of 539 ratios. 539 students for every counselor in Minnesota is our ratio. And again, how in the world can they keep track of 539 students when our neighboring states mandate 250-to-1? And so I just can't think, is there room to co-author this bill? Senator Mohamed? Okay, add me to the list, please. And anyways, with that said, thank you to all the testifiers and bringing awareness to this issue. And again, I apologize to all the counselors out there that we've actually moved backwards. That's kind of on us. And so I hope we can make you come forward, or whatever the right phraseology is, and go back to 46th in the nation from 48th. Thank you again, Senator, and thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Senator Swetnitsky. Any final words, Senator Mohamed?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, members. Madam Chair, I know that there are a number of competing priorities for dollars this session. We've been through a lot as a state. Our students are carrying it, and I can't think of anything better for us to spend money on this session. I appreciate you.
Thank you. And with that, Senate File 4505 is laid over for possible inclusion in a future omnibus bill. Thank you, Senator. Next, we're going to move to a presentation on compensatory aid from the Minnesota Department of Education. Welcome to the committee, Director Erickson. When you are ready, if you would just state your name for the record, and you may begin.
Chair Kunish, Sami Rajab, Assistant Director of Government Relations with the Minnesota Department of Education. Before I turn to my colleague, Ms. Erickson, just a brief remark. While we'll be discussing the history of compensatory, Ms. Erickson will be discussing the history of compensatory revenue. We'll also be discussing the task force's preliminary report. We just want to acknowledge that the task force has worked very hard on this. This is very much their work. They're a group of very dedicated folks for our state's education funding system, and we just want to acknowledge their work before we move into this.
Thank you for that acknowledgement. If you'd like to begin. Thank you, Mr. Rajab.
Madam Chair, members, my name is Kathy Erickson, the Director of School Finance for the Minnesota Department of Education. We'll be providing a brief compensatory history, and then again, as Sami mentioned, we'll talk a little bit about the duties of the task force and what the preliminary report has come up with. As always, when the Minnesota Department of Education does a presentation, we want to point out our 10 commitments to equity. We feel that with compensatory revenue, all 10 of our commitments to equity play a role in our discussion today. Our presentation includes information from House Research, from the Office of Legislative Auditor, from the Minnesota Department of Education data, and Minnesota state statutes. So where compensatory started, the first remnant of what is compensatory revenue started in 1969, and it was simply $30 per pupil for any school district where more than 20% of their students were from families who qualified for assistance through formerly AFDC, or Aid for Families with Dependent Children. So we have started a journey since 1969 to talk about compensatory revenue. A few other highlights as we get to kind of our last 5 years. In 1987 and in 1999, with open enrollment and charter schools, it did create more student movement, and considerations on how the compensatory formula worked played into some of the changes that we saw in the coming years. In 1994 and 95, compensatory revenue was enacted along with a formula transition from the AFDC to using ADM served. We moved from there in the future, but we saw that first change in the calculation. In fiscal year 2000, the formula was adjusted again, and compensatory revenue was combined with what was formerly LEP, now what we call English Learner. That created a basic skills revenue. So there were two funding categories that were rolled into what we have called basic skills. From 2001 to 2010, compensatory funding really did not change, but there were some legislative changes that addressed building allocations, allocations to cooperatives, and uses of revenue. So during that period of time, the formula stayed consistent, but we did see some changes in how the uses of those funds were utilized. In 2015, the legislature changed the building allocation flexibility. So up until that point, 95% of revenue that was generated at the sites needed to be spent at the sites, but in 2015 it was changed that 50% of revenue that was generated by sites could be flexible and could be moved under local district approved choices. In March of 2020, the Office of Legislative Auditor published a report about compensatory and provided recommendations on the funding program. In 2023, so between 21 and 25 and 2023, we did see a new set of uses of funds. We saw some changes that started in fiscal year 24. For the document, we put in those new amounts, but as I go to the next slide, here were some of the changes that happened from the uses of funds, removing in whole or part what was formerly number 6, part of the use number 7, which did delete encourage completion of high school, enhance self-concept, provide health services, provide nutrition services, and provide safe and secure learning environments. The all-day kindergarten, number 9 and number 11 for extended school day were all removed from the uses of funds in 2023, first starting in 24. In addition, in 2023, the flexibility provision was changed back, which was to be 80% now of the funds needed to be spent at the site in which generated the funds. That happened in 2023. But as noted in other places, the legislature did take additional action, which we are currently now in fiscal years 26 and 27 at 60%, so 40% flexibility, but that was just for 2 years. So, but this is what happened in 2023. We also, in 2023, had the passage of the free school meals bill. So again, with the uncertainty of how those clarifications and qualifications for free and reduced lunch, which is the driver of our current compensatory revenue formula, there was discussion about, do we need to look at the changes in the compensatory formula because of those pieces. In December 2022, there were discussions that led to, in 2023, the passage of a change in the compensatory formula that should have taken effect in 2026, this current year. And the main change there was that the calculation would use direct certification only students rather than students who also qualified under what we would call the paper forms or application for benefits process. The formula also simplified for 2026. There were components in current law that we're currently using under hold harmless that limited the amount of eligible students in the formula, also had an additional concentration factor that are currently not included in the proposed formula that would go into effect in 2027. So again, we did look at the formula using only free and reduced lunch meals. As this was looked at, and those initial calculations showed that a majority of districts, charters, and others may see a reduction in compensatory. We did look at additionally areas in which we could have those discussions. The legislature in 2023 also enacted a minimum spend requirement so that for fiscal year 27, we would need to spend at least $857.15 million to make sure that we met those minimum spend thresholds. Prior to that, the minimum spend was met, so we did not have to introduce, but for proposed 2027, based on the current law, we would need to use the minimum spend. We do not have a specific amount right now. We're still going through some student appeals, but that would take effect based on rolling into the 2023 law in 27. So the school finance team, again, this was where we did see these differentiations for last year. These are very similar results that we're seeing for this year, and more analysis was done that the legislature in 2025 did pass a modified hold harmless for fiscal year 26 that we're in right now. And again, we did share a summary information to the governor's office and others about where we have been since fiscal year 23 to 25. Compensatory funding statewide had increased 82.8% based on the calculations that we have and the hold harmless pieces. The fiscal year 25 hold harmless generated 8.2% additional revenue. And again, for fiscal year 26, we were expecting to see over $230 districts and 70 charters with less compensatory revenue for fiscal year 26, which again had us come forward with the governor's proposal for a modified hold harmless, which was passed by the legislature last year. And again, part of the other work that happened was the creation of the task force, and that task force has been meeting since last fall, and it has submitted their preliminary report to the legislature. So for compensatory, again, for fiscal year 26 that we're in right now and in 2026, we are seeing the FY26 modified hold harmless will sunset June 30th, which means with no other action, we would be going back to the law that passed in 2023 to use the direct certification only formula. We have provided base runs to all of our LEAs. The Minnesota Department of Education did 3 WebEx trainings for members, districts, and others so that they could understand the impact of the change in the law. And again, we would be enacting the minimum spend right now because the estimated amount of allocation for fiscal year 27 does not meet the $857 million threshold at this time. Additionally, in our PowerPoint, I won't go through all of these in detail, but they're here just for your visual that you can see compensatory revenue over time so that you can see the elements of the percent of free students and the percent of reduced students. So that just shows where we saw that peak growth in the amount of revenue and how many free and reduced percentages we had over time. And again, during 22 and 23, we did see the inclusion of Medicaid students, and that was what was a large factor in the increase of amounts of eligible students over time. We also provided information from an enrollment standpoint, the counts of students for free and reduced over time, so you could see it kind of in a line graph and how many total students that we have. But you can see that between 24 and 25, we actually did see a 4.8% decrease in students reported for eligible free and reduced because we are seeing some changes in the eligibility for Medicare. So we are seeing some amounts of students going down slightly. Here you can see the compensatory revenue over time. So you can see that in fiscal year 24, we saw that large increase during the fall. So for fiscal year 24, that would have been the fall of 23 counts, and that's where we did see an increase in the number of eligible students grow, and that we've been maintaining. And then we have the projected amounts for fiscal years 27, 28, and 29 that were done by Minnesota House Research in March of 2025. This slide, we've been in some of our presentations just to give everyone kind of that brief history of how much the state has sent out in entitlements. So in fiscal year 23, we had $473.8 million. In the fall of 24, which was a 68.7% increase, was $799 million. In fiscal year 25, we were at $866 million. Not on here, but our amount for fiscal year 26 is $891 million. And right now, the base for fiscal year 27, not including districts who are eligible for the pilot program or any of the minimum spend, is going to be about $809 million. So that is going to be for projected fiscal year 27 based on going back to the 2023 session law change. And that is all I have for the background of compensatory. I'm not sure, Madam Chair, if you'd like to have questions on this piece or if you'd like us to go through the rest.
Thank you for that thorough explanation. Any questions at this point? Seeing none, you may continue.
Okay. So our second part of our presentation is just to give a little bit of background on the current preliminary task force report that was sent to the legislature here just a few weeks ago. And just a little bit of background, in 2025, the legislature did establish a compensatory revenue task force, and its goals were to analyze the general education compensatory revenue formula, including the purpose of the program, revenue levels of the program, distribution, formulas for the revenue, uses of compensatory revenue, and methods to evaluate outcomes of compensatory revenue spending. And you can see the notation of the Minnesota law that enacted this task force. The legislation required 14 members. 10 members were appointed by the Commissioner of Education, 1 member by the House Majority Leader, 1 member by the House Speaker Emerita, 1 member by the Senate Majority Leader, and 1 member by the Senate Minority Leader. So we do have, we had 14 members established that have started meeting back in October. So our goal here today is just to go over the 8 duty areas that were outlined in statute of what the task force was going to review, where we are, what the language said, kind of our current state, and what more information the task force is going to be doing. They are set to have a final recommendation in October of 2026. So the preliminary report kind of set the stage for what future work is going to be going on from this point forward. So the first duty area in statute was just target populations to evaluate the student groups currently generating compensatory revenue. Does this align with students who are underprepared to learn or otherwise not meeting academic standards, and determine the best student population to target with compensatory revenue. So right now, under the current state, the compensatory revenue will be using direct certification only of free and reduced students, and that's where we would be going as we sunset into 2027. MDE does not do specific analysis of students who qualify for free and reduced lunch as a preparedness to learn, and that's just our current state. But in the duty area 1, under what the small groups and areas members of the task force looked at, was that they wanted to now start looking at more information on effective ways to measure poverty, including study options of calculating direct certification and options for improving the completion of free and reduced lunch price meal forms. Just because our current formula does not include the application for benefit or the paper forms projected for 27, we are still collecting those forms, and that data is still a piece of for free and reduced lunch counts. Data on the financial impact of counting students who qualify for reduced price lunch at the same weight as students who qualify for free. Under our current law, as the count of eligible students, a free student is a 1 and a reduced student is considered a 0.5. So one of the things that they would like to look into more is, does it make sense to have a full 1.0 for both free and reduced? And then data on the impact of using a 3-year rolling average was something that the task force would like to look into more. Does it make sense to use a multi-year number of students that may help with potential less volatility and more stability in the proxy of the formula? So duty area 2 is proxy variables, and the legislative language is asking the task force to examine and determine the best proxy and demographic variables to identify students, sites, and districts in need of assistance to help students better meet their academic standards and their preparedness to learn. During the COVID pandemic, the federal government provided the free meals, and as a result, there was a significant decline in families completing the application for benefits. So that was acknowledged by the task force as something to be considered when they think about what the proxy values might be. So again, MDE, the direct certification Medicaid program, was opted in, which then increased the number of eligible students starting in fiscal years 22-23. And again, this part then increased the number of eligible students, and then in turn increased the compensatory revenue entitlements. It does, with the Medicaid, reduces the reliance on the paper forms, and again approves more access for eligible students. And then also those proxy variables, the compensatory formula, using the application and direct certification students was again an area in which there was concern with the lessening of the amount of paper forms being in. So again, in fiscal year 27, that was addressed by doing the direct certification students only. But again, as we have shared, the financial consequence of the formula is that we do have a majority of school districts and charters who would be receiving less under that new formula than they would be under the current modified hold harmless. So the duty area 2, the more information that they would like to be discussing over time here in the next few months is determining Is there a good multiplier that makes the most sense to capture students who are missed through direct certification? Can we find some projected numbers for what a multiplier would be used, such as USDA, and using that as part of a potential calculation? Getting additional input from the state demographer's office on what data points they would consider in a new metric. Just for this committee's information, the state demographer did present to the task force last fall and provided some basic information, but I think they feel that there could be some more information that could be shared. Determining how many additional students would be included, if they could cast a wide net of a poverty proxy, which would need to be looked at. The task force did look at several other states who have a funding formula similar to compensatory, and they noted New York State as an example here. And then again, a district by district of statewide analysis comparing revenue impacts of districts incorporating compensatory revenue, again, in their general education revenue. So again, does it make sense to maybe roll in the individualized entitlement and see how it could be worked in comparison with general education revenue? Duty area number 3 is data elements. The language from the legislation says that we should examine the potential input of data elements, including income tax data, census information, federal school meals, whether it's identified through direct certification or income and other things. So MDE processes have not included a deeper dive into these data elements since we have a current entitlement program. But again, there could be other areas in which we could help support in technical assistance along with the task force members doing that. And then we did hear the presentation of other proxies and uses. And again, they did hear from the state demographer. So I think task force members are looking at using some of these tools and departments that could help them look a little bit deeper into the different data elements. What more information will they need? I think this is how will changes potentially in the SNAP or Medicaid program under HR 1 affect the direct certification counts, and how will that have an impact on the current formula? Is there a viability of using income tax data in Minnesota? What would be the benefits or disadvantages? Noting that, again, New Mexico is the only state that uses this proxy, so the task force has already looked into that, but they are going to dig in a little deeper. Before making any recommendations on proxies, they would like to understand how different choices would impact schools, and they would like to see different models of the different variables on that area. And then task force members also expressed interest in meeting with key legislators, state education officials, and researchers who have influenced recent funding formula and changes that could be applied in Minnesota. Duty area 4 is whether or not this should be a district or site level entitlement. So whether or not these should be considered. Right now, compensatory revenue is distributed by site. So we often will share a district total, but that is the combination of all the individual sites that generate compensatory revenue based on their enrollment versus the number of free and reduced lunch count students. The duty area 4 for more information that they would like to look into based on this would be to ask for task force members of where do we see maybe diversions of compensatory funds to other sites or district levels that potentially undermine the compensatory aid objectives, and is there sufficient data and analysis capabilities to determine the specific effects of compensatory revenue on outcomes for children's and sites. So they would just like to look into more of that. What would be the potential impacts of doing a district level versus a site level, or if site level remains the recommended distribution model. Duty area 5 asked about whether or not compensatory revenue should contain a concentration formula. So a basic formula has, just one kind of main calculation, and then oftentimes we will see other elements included, and currently compensatory revenue does include a concentration factor that allows for specific other criteria to modify what the initial calculation does. And again, from a more information needed from task force members is, again, looking at different state models. They'd like to see if a concentration factor is used in other states and how has that been working, and what thresholds did they set, and is there potentially a tiered system that could work versus a concentration model. So having potentially more than one calculation versus using a concentration from this. So that duty area will be looked at in that way. Duty Area 6 related to extended time revenue. So right now, there is compensatory revenue that is distributed to extended time programs within our state, and that is for area learning centers. But the legislation is asking about examining the interrelationships between compensatory revenue programs and extended time revenue programs, including summer school, and potentially proposing methods to better integrate compensatory revenue and extended time revenue. Again, we do have sites who are ALCs, or alternative learning centers, who do generate compensatory revenue. And again, how does that relate to a year-round program versus summer school? So this duty area, the task force would like to dig in a little bit deeper on how compensatory does interact currently with ALCs, how much money is being spent on the differing costs between ALCs and extended time, which might be summer school, and then how do charter schools integrate extended time dollars, and our districts with fully funded ALCs, how are they using these dollars, and then what percentage of total revenue is allocated to extended time revenue. So again, the task force would like to dig in a little bit more here in the coming months on how is that interrelationship with our extended time and area learning centers. Duty Area 7 is uses. The legislative language did ask the task force to evaluate the best uses of compensatory revenue. We do have a summary here of the current uses, and I won't go through those. Those are for your reference. But again, it's just where we are now. And if you recall in my preliminary presentation, those changes we did see some changes in uses of revenue in the 2023 legislature that took effect in 2024. And again, I just have, again, the general uses, and then I'll just go for what the more information needed is. Task force members have not yet reached a consensus on further restricting or unrestricting, so that's what they'll be spending time on. There will be additional discussion needed in respect to the shared understanding of what does improved student achievement mean in terms of best uses. The task force members have discussed and the need to survey district administrators and staff working directly with at-risk students and students themselves so that they can hear from those who have valuable insight on revenue uses and the best ways they can address the needs at schools. And then the task force members are interested in further discussion on best practices that can support the achievement for at-risk students, and if there is a significant evidence to support any other best practices that are not currently within the scope of the law. Our final duty area is Duty Area 8, or effectiveness. The legislature asked the task force to evaluate potential ways to examine the effectiveness of compensatory revenue, including measures of absolute levels of growth in student attendance, graduation rates, assessment results, student behavior, and disciplinary events. Right now, the current program has not examined growth measures, but MDE had shared with the task force that we can work with our data and analytics team within MDE to see if we can find some base revenue to help them start that work as a task force. More information needed. The task force area under Duty 8 would just like to get a better understanding of uses and expenditures. The Department of Education does collect expenditure data by different program areas, so we will be providing more information on how district expenditures are reported to us through our what we call UFARs, and then a breakdown of district level correlations between economic status and growth and achievement scores. So that will be additional areas that the task force will be working on starting here next month. And with that, we are open for questions.
Thanks very much for that very thorough report, both the history of it, of compensatory aid, but also how this task force is working. We do have a question from Senator Mayquade.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you so much for the presentation. It was really helpful. Throughout the presentation, there were a lot of mentions of proxy for poverty. And I mean, feasibly, we have all that information, the Department of Revenue knows the exact number of people who live in poverty in the state of Minnesota. Is there a possibility that there could be a determination there, and then we don't have to find creative proxies, but we just use the actual data we have?
Director Erickson.
Madam Chair, Senator, this is a great question. One of the challenges related to poverty is that it is usually done on a county level, And our school districts oftentimes are in more than one county. We have several school districts that are in 3 to 4 counties. So to be able to use a streamlined proxy becomes a little more difficult. We looked back in 2023 at Colorado was a state that had kind of a similar funding formula, but their school districts are aligned with their counties, so that made the poverty proxy much easier for them than it does for us. So we do have information. I believe the task force will be working, looking at that, but I think the measure may be a little more complicated because our district boundaries do not align with our county boundaries.
Follow up?
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I think I understood part of that answer, but wouldn't the Department of Revenue also have that information, like based on tax returns and tax filings and tax status?
Director Erickson.
Madam Chair, Senator, we have in the past looked at that information and it has not always been available. So we will continue to work with the Department of Revenue to see what the task force members can get access to.
Great, thank you. We're going to go to Senator Clark, and then we'll have more.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Ms. Erickson. I am a member of this, and I just want to reiterate the great work that we're getting on this bipartisan task force from across the state. People are digging in, they're diving in, and I think seeing what Senator May-Quade is quickly identifying, that there are great possibilities out here that have other encumbrances, and we may get to the end of this and be like, there could be better data that we could use, but it's not fully available at this time, so create a path to it. So you're likely going to be hearing from us at the end, this is the best of the good options. And so it's, and I appreciate that the folks drive in from all over the state, folks zoom in from all over the state, and they're doing the work, and this is something where I think we're all agreed, and there's nuances on how we get to it, but it's a place where the kids are centered, the school districts are centered, and I think you're hearing a lot of what Senator Farnsworth has talked about in centering the districts as well, of what is right for each individual districts and crafting a formula and a piece that fits it all. Not easy work, but it's the programmatic, painstaking review that is necessary in all of our programs across the state. So thanks to MDE for providing the presentation, but to the 14 members who have signed up to do it on a volunteer basis, thank you so much.
Thank you, Senator Clark. Senator Oma Verbaden.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I am referring to slide 21 for this question. You talked about looking at data on the financial impact of counting students who qualify for reduced price lunch as the same weight as students who qualify for free lunch. I think that's where you mentioned like a 0.5 versus 1. Did the task force look into kind of where that originated in counting some students as 0.5 versus 1? And then are there other states taking this approach of counting them at the same weight?
Director, and I'm sure that Senator Swanzinski thanks you for adding numbers to your slides. You just got gold star of the day. All right. If you'd like to respond.
Madam Chair, Senator, this is a great question. Historically, when it converted to not using AFDC or ADM served and using the direct certification, I think there was just expectation that students using the poverty measure or income measure that allows students to be free or reduced was just a calculation amount. And oftentimes when we do school finance reports, it also maybe helped to meet a budget target to get us to where we needed to be. I don't have any specific information from the task force if there were individual states who do this identically with the 1 versus a 0.5. But our teams on the task force did look at several different states, and I can certainly find that information and get to you.
Thank you. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming in today and sharing this wealth of information. Really appreciate the thoroughness of it. And members, if you do have questions after you've looked at those slides again, please don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you. All right. We are going to move along to Senator Clark, Senate File 4368. Senator Clark, if you'd like to move your bill, and then I understand you have an A1 amendment.
Thank you, Chair Kunish. I will move Senate File 4368. And the A1 amendment reflects the fiscal note that should be in your packet. So the fiscal note came in yesterday and reflects the fiscal element of this bill. The fiscal note's completed yesterday and adds the cost of compensatory aid fix into the bill's language.
All right, any questions? All in favor of the A1, say aye. Aye. Any nays? All right, the A1 passes, and you may begin to speak to your bill.
Thank you, Chair Kunish. Compensatory aid, as you've heard, is a key component of state funding to our public schools. This revenue helps pay the education costs of students who are unprepared to learn. This funding helps schools all across Minnesota educate our students. The main emphasis of this bill is stability in funding, and secondarily, a reflection of the need for a path to adjust for the total enrollment at each building. So this bill does two main things. It provides modification of the calculation for fiscal year 2027 alone, and it maintains building allocation flexibility at 40%. So that modification of the calculation for fiscal year 2027 alone, I think Mr. Arneson's recap does an excellent job of this. Modification provides compensatory revenue for each school at least 90% of the compensatory revenue the building generated in FY26 after adjusting for any decline in total revenue at the building between 2024 and 2025 October pupil counts. And two, it maintains that building allocation flexibility at 80%. The bill extends that authorization for school districts to allocate up to 40% of a district's total compensatory revenue to school sites according to a plan adopted by the local school board. Prior to last year, districts' flexibility was limited to spend just 20% on compensatory revenue at the school board's discretion, and 80% needed to be spent at the site level where the revenue was generated. The bulk of the allocation will remain dedicated to each site where the targeted students sit, with 40% building flexibility. And Senator Kunish, we do have some testifiers.
Thank you so much, Senator Clark. We do have a plethora of testifiers, so I'm going to ask testifiers to try to be as concise. We've got about 40 minutes left of this hearing. And so I'm going to ask Zena Stenvig, Superintendent Extraordinaire from Columbia Heights, to join us, and Christy Peterson, and then John Shalowski, if you would be prepared to join the table, and then Kulia Pringle right after that. And Superintendent, if you just state your name for the record, and you may begin.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, my name is Zena Stenvik. I serve as the Superintendent for Columbia Heights Public Schools. I come before you today as a lifelong Minnesotan and member of the Legislative Task Force on Compensatory Revenue to speak in favor of Senate File 4386. The issue of compensatory revenue is not only a priority for AMSD here in the metro area, but MASA and MSBA are also urging a hold harmless mechanism for fiscal year 27, because this is a priority for low-income families, children, and communities across our entire state. Including up north. I have to give a shout out to Chisholm, where my father was born, and all the way down to our communities in southern Minnesota. As a task force member, many concerned school officials from different communities across the state have contacted me with their concerns about the drastic funding change, funding calculations, which cause instability in funding year over year. You heard mentioned previously that the task force is looking at a 3-year outlook that would help reduce the year over year instability. Last July, the federal government passed the One Big Beautiful Bill, which, according to the Minnesota Association of School Business Officials, significantly limits Americans' access to programs such as SNAP and Medicaid. Therefore, the idea that the state of Minnesota would solely rely on direct certification, meaning participation in programs such as SNAP and Medicaid, means that our accounting of children living below the poverty line is wholly inaccurate. And children in need are being excluded from accessing crucial funding for educational programs that are really meant just to get them closer to being on the same playing field as their other peers. Our current funding calculations result in some districts losing $1,000 per pupil, while others would lose about $200 per pupil, and other school districts would gain in funding. So really, the calculations leave us all over the map. Last year, the legislature formed the task force to examine how compensatory revenue is calculated. The findings and recommendations are due to you all in October. Therefore, this bill this bill before you today gives us the time to do the job that you all tasked us with. Thank you.
Thank you, Superintendent, and thank you for participating in this and all the good work you do for your community. All right, next we have Christy Peterson. If you'd like to introduce yourself.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the committee. My name is Christy Peterson, and I serve as a school board chair for Shakopee Public Schools and also for Southwest Metro Intermediate 288. I am also the current president for the Minnesota School Board Association. Today, I'm here to speak on behalf of all 331 public schools in our great state. I ask for your support to pass Senate File 4368, which would extend the compensatory revenue hold harmless provision. In a school funding era in which many of our school districts' spending is driven by legal requirements and legislative mandates, compensatory revenue remains an area that allows for discretion at the school building level and very often unique learning needs of our students. If we do not implement a hold harmless, 271 of the 331 public schools across the state will face a significant decrease in compensatory funding, which will result in additional cuts to critical positions on top of the millions of dollars in cuts our public schools are making to their budgets already. All of these reductions touch every student in every public school building in our state. There are 5 points that I'd like to address as to why MSBA supports Senate File 4368. First, while universal school meals have been a success for student nutrition, the shift away from paper applications to direct certification has unintentionally led to a significant drop in the recorded student counts for many districts. Not all students who qualify for free or reduced lunches also qualify under direct certification, which has led to a funding shortfall or a gap, while students' needs are still present. Second, the compensatory revenue is a vital component of the funding formula for students who need extra support. Without an extension of the hold harmless provision, a majority of districts face a sudden and drastic revenue loss that does not reflect a change in student needs, but rather a change in data collection. Third, sudden drops in compensatory funding directly impact the ability to fund interventionists, reading specialists, and other essential support staff. Stability in this funding is required to keep these resources in our classrooms. Fourth, the compensatory task force is currently working on recommendations to modernize how this revenue is calculated. Extending the hold harmless provision provides the necessary bridge to allow that work to be finalized by the fall of '26 without hurting districts in the interim. And last, we have enough data to build a new system that contains a floor that would be adjusted for inflation and that could also be built upon 3 data points: direct certification, meal forms, and student enrollment. Within these data points, it would be straightforward to correlate the number of direct certifications to predict an adjusted qualifying rate using the historical correlations between the 3 data points. As I conclude, I ask you to extend the compensatory revenue hold harmless for 1 year. This extension is critical to prevent immediate funding cliffs and protect the staff and resources currently serving our highest need students. Extending this protection will provide the stability needed for the compensatory task force to complete its evaluation and recommend a permanent, accurate data collection model for the future. Thank you for your time, and I'm available for questions.
Thank you so much, Ms. Peterson. Next, we have Mr. Solodski, and then we'll have Kulia Pringle, and after that, John Fanning and Karen Cleansing. If you want to introduce yourself for the record, you may begin.
Madam Chair and members of the committee, my name is John Chalowski. I serve as a superintendent for both Sleepy Eye and Cedar Mountain Public Schools. For point of reference, location is in Brown County and Redwood County, so you can put me on the map. I'm serve about 500 students in Sleepy Eye and 400 students approximately in Cedar Mountain. So we are two small districts, and several conversations happened here before small districts, and I'm here to advocate for small districts, not just for my two, but all my neighboring schools have the same response if they would testify in behalf of them as well too. So today, I'm here today to testify in support of extension of a compensatory hold harmless provision for another year, so that the compensatory task force can finalize its work and make recommendation to the legislature. The transition to direct certification is not only just a challenge for my districts. It's a statewide issue that will adversely affect 271 out of 331 districts, just like we heard prior to my presentation here in Minnesota. In Sleepy Eye and Cedar Mountain, we do a fantastic job of promoting paper certification on the education benefit forms, which allows to identify a large number of students in need who are completely missed by the state automatic system. Under current law, these students will no longer be counted, and the funding that supports them will simply vanish. The financial impact that transition to direct certification only without the hold harmless provision will create a fiscal crisis for my communities. Sleepy Eye stands to lose $278,000 in compensatory revenue, and Cedar Mountain stands to lose $100,000. In total, the two districts looking about $380,000 of loss of revenues because of administrative change of how we count students in poverty. As far as reference, what does that mean? I mean, seems like a small amount number, but our budget is $9.3 million in Sleepy Eye, and it was $7.5 million in Cedar Mountain. So that number is pretty substantial, you know, if you consider the total revenue. For us in Sleepy Eye and Cedar Mountain, nothing we have left to cut here. I want to be clear, we have nothing more to cut here. Sleepy Eye already made $1 million in budget cuts. That's 11% of our total budget over the past few years. Cedar Mountain is currently in a process, I'm going back to my board meeting, cutting $500,000 from our budget. And we are a deficit spending this year. And Sleepy Eye, we are one of the approximately 90 districts that are unable to pass a local operating referendum. We have not been able to levy in my 17 years serving in the school districts. And we have exhausted every efficiency possible, including sharing a superintendent between the two districts. This is my first year shared. Before I was a dual role serving Sleepy Eye in a principal and the superintendent role as well too. So we try to make it go as much as possible here. The budget pressure is, if this law is not changed, Sleepy Eye deficit will jump from $250,000 this year to $600,000 the upcoming school year. We are committed to implementing other legislative requirements, such as our mascot transition, but those necessary changes come with real costs that further strain our limited resources. We simply cannot observe these compounding hits without the stability of a hold harmless provision. We are asking the legislature to reinstate the hold harmless provision to provide stability while legislatively appointed compensatory task force completes its vital work. It is only logical to maintain current funding levels until that group can provide a permanent, accurate solution for counting our students in poverty. In closing, once again, we are asking for support of the extension of the compensatory hold harmless provision to ensure Minnesota students are unpenalized by change in data collection. Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm open for questions.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chalovsky. Thank you very much. Next, we have Kulia Pringle, and if John Fanning would like to join us. You may state your name for the record and begin.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the community. My name is Kulia Pringle, and I am the Executive Director of Stand Up Minnesota Parents United, and also a member of the Push Forward Coalition who is in support of this bill. I help families navigate the education system across Minnesota and advocate for resources their children need to succeed. I'm here today to express support for Senate File 4368. Compensatory revenue is a critical funding stream because it recognizes a simple truth. Students experiencing poverty and the schools that serve them need greater resources to achieve equitable educational outcomes. These funds support things like literacy intervention, academic support, and family engagement, supports that many of our families and students rely on every day. Right now in Minnesota, identifies most low-income students through participation in Medicaid and SNAP. According to the Minnesota Department of Education, about 80% of students counted for compensatory funding are identified through these programs. but federal proposals to cut Medicaid and SNAP threaten the accuracy of those counts. If those cuts move forward and the legislature does not act, fewer students will show up in the data even though their needs have not been changed. Poverty doesn't disappear because of federal program changes, but the funding schools receive might. And when students aren't counted, schools receive less compensatory funding, which means fewer resources for the students who need them most. The hold harmless prevention provision in this bill is an important short-term solution. It helps stabilize school budgets while Minnesota works towards broader long-term improvements in how we measure student poverty. Students shouldn't lose resources because of political happenings in Washington. Ultimately, we need a system that more accurately reflects the families' face and reflect what families face that does not rely so heavily on federal programs that can shift with national politics. Developing that system will take time and coordination across this legislature. If students haven't changed, their school funding shouldn't suddenly disappear. I urge the committee to pass this bill and continue working towards more accurate and equitable ways to measure and support low-income students in Minnesota. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Pringle. Next, we have Mr. Fanning, and if Ms. Klinzing would join us at the table, that'd be great. And you may begin when you introduce yourself.
Thank you. Good morning, Chair and members of the committee. I'm John Fanning, Director of Education Partnerships Coalition, or EPC, speaking in support of Senate File 4638. EPC is a bipartisan coalition of 9 cradle-to-career partnerships across Minnesota. Our collective impact model engages more than 600 local partner organizations in support of more than 300,000 young Minnesotans and their families. EPC communities are in greater Minnesota as well as metro and urban parts of our great state across communities red and purple and blue. All 9 EPC member organizations fully support this bill as a means to shore up the financial viability of our public schools in this moment of great disturbance and disruption. The point of view I share personally today that I hope will be helpful with your decision is that of a Title I public high school teacher, counselor, full-service community schools leader, and assistant principal, me earlier in my career. This crowd-out dynamic that you are facing in the state budget as a result of SNAP and Medicaid cuts is a lived experience that we face at the school level, not just every year or every semester when we work on our budgets, but literally every week and sometimes every day as we try and balance the finances. Already, students and families are negatively impacted by their schools and leaders needing to overstretch every dollar. Every small pinch results in a hard decision. Classroom sizes or student counselor ratios go up, out of school time activities and academic supports go down. It's a lose-lose, and a sudden and significant slash like this leaves students, families, and staff in the lurch. Continuous improvement and innovation require change, and while change is hard, it is necessary. However, it does not need to look this sudden. Your support of Senate File 4638 will buy your school site and district teams time to plan for the future in a way that minimizes the negative impacts on young Minnesotans and their families. On behalf of EPC, our 9 member orgs, and our 600 partners, we thank you for your consideration of our testimony.
Thank you, Mr. Fanning. And Ms. Klinzing, if you'd like to begin in just a second, and I'll ask Joey Sinian to join us at the table. Go ahead.
Thank you. Good morning, Senators, and thank you for the opportunity to testify in support today of Senate File 4368. My name is Karen Klinzing, and I serve as the Executive Director of Hiawatha Academies, a public charter school in its 19th year in South Minneapolis. This year, we serve approximately 1,650 students in grades K through 12. 65% of our students are multilingual learners. And over the past 3 years, 100% of our graduating seniors each year have been accepted into college or post-secondary program. Our families choose Hiawatha for this graduation moment. We are a school where students, many low-income and multilingual backgrounds, not only succeed, but they thrive. In fact, our students who qualify for free or reduced lunch are 4 times more likely to be enrolled in advanced placement and other rigorous coursework. Families trust us with their children because we help them achieve their dream of college and other career readiness. But today I'm here because that work is at risk. At Hiawatha Academies, we have the highest enrollment ever. 86% of our students qualify through the application for educational benefits for free reduced price lunch. Yet only 31% have opted to apply for and receive the social service programs through direct certification. As a result, we are facing a devastating loss of somewhere I've seen multiple runs of $2 to $3 million in annual revenue, nearly 10% of our total budget. This is not a theoretical problem. This is real money that funds real services for real, actual children. The real impact is the marginalization of certain segments of students who otherwise were counted for compensatory funding, and now they do not, quote, count, unquote. Our compensatory dollars have been supporting a longer year, longer days, extra tutoring, and 4 times a week of academic interventions. The reality is that the compensatory policy law passed in 2023 has created what the state itself has described as winners and losers. It's taken resources from some students experiencing poverty and redirected it to others, not based on pure student need, but based on how the need is measured. The way it is now being measured does not reflect the lived realities of many of our families. We've worked diligently to encourage families to enroll in direct certification programs, but many of our families, particularly first and second generation immigrants, are hesitant to share personal information beyond the school system. They trust their school. They're willing to complete school-based forms that directly support their child's education. But they are more cautious when it comes to engaging with broader government systems. This is not a lack of need, it's a matter of trust. As a result, the new formula has disproportionately impacted schools like ours. So I urge you to consider what this means in practice. Students with identical needs are being treated differently based solely on whether their family navigates a separate bureaucratic system. That's not equitable. It's not what we intend when we talk about supporting all Minnesota students. This is why another year of hold harmless is not just reasonable, it's necessary. First, these students, among the most in need, should not have their support abruptly reduced due to a change in measuring and counting. Second, a sudden 10% reduction in funding is extraordinarily difficult for any organization to absorb without cutting critical services to those students who are most in need. And third, many Minnesotans, including educators and families, have raised concerns about the unintended consequences of the 2023 compensatory law change, particularly its disproportionate impact on specific communities. And finally, an additional year of hold harmless will give the working group the time it needs to develop a more thoughtful, durable solution, one that reflects both data and lived experience that counts students who are in need. Senators, the 2023 formula as it stands treats some students as if needs matter less simply because they're harder to count. But our responsibility is not to count students more easily, it's to serve them more effectively. I urge you to pass this Senate file for another year of hold harmless and to work toward a funding system that truly reflects the needs of all students, especially those who rely on us the most. And thank you for your time and commitment to this legislation and Minnesota's children. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Klinsing. Next, we have Mr. Sinian, and then I will invite Matt Shaver to join us at the testimony table. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Thank you. Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the committee. My name is Joey Chenyan. I'm the Executive Director of the Minnesota Association of Charter Schools, representing chartered public schools across the state, serving more than 72,000 students. I want to begin by noting that today you've heard from traditional and chartered public school leaders sharing their firsthand experiences. Their stories are powerful, but they're not unique. Many more public school leaders across our sector are facing the same concerns about the current formula for compensatory revenue. This critical funding stream supports students facing barriers to reading and math proficiency, often linked to poverty, a long-used proxy for allocating these resources. In the charter sector, about 60% of our students qualify for free and reduced lunch, compared to roughly 40% statewide. As many other testifiers have shared today, under the new formula, particularly the shift to the direct certification-only approach, we are seeing significant unintended consequences. More than half of chartered public schools are projected to lose funding, and in many cases, substantial portions of their budgets, despite serving the same students with the same needs identified under prior compensatory formulas. This creates instability at a time where schools are already setting budgets for the upcoming year and managing rising costs and financial instability in education more broadly. These abrupt funding changes are not reasonable, and they make it difficult for schools to plan responsibly. In some cases, they raise serious concerns for schools about long-term sustainability. While there are some schools that benefit under the new formula, the overall impact across our sector is deeply uneven, creating clear winners and losers, even though these schools haven't seen any meaningful change in student demographics. This is why MAX supports SF 4368 as a practical, responsible solution. This bill provides a hold harmless for the coming year, allowing schools to maintain stability while the Compensatory Revenue Working Group completes its work and brings forward thoughtful, predictable, long-term recommendations for the 2027 budget cycle. The needs of students have not changed dramatically, and this critical funding stream should not change dramatically either. We respectfully ask for clarity and stability for our sector so that this funding stream is fair and consistent for all public school students. Please support a compensatory hold harmless to ensure stability for schools and continuity of support for the students who need it most. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chinian. Next, we have Matt Shaver, and then our final testifier will be Samuel Yigza, who will be testifying remotely. Mr. Shaver, if you'd introduce yourself for the record, you can begin.
Chair Kunish, members of the committee, good morning. My name is Matt Shaver. I'm the Senior Policy Director at Allies. We're education advocates dedicated to leveraging state policy to improve student outcomes. Thank you for the opportunity to testify in support of Senator Clark's SF 4368. I'm also a member of the Compensatory Task Force, along with Senator Clark and Superintendent Stenvig. It's been a delight to work with you both and the rest of the task force to dig deep into the history, opportunity, challenges of this funding formula, as well as how other states design similar formulas and what the research tells us about how to leverage these dollars most effectively for kids. And I hope members of this committee and members of the public will read our interim report and engage with our work as we prepare final recommendations this fall. So a couple things to note just for the record while I'm up here. So total state investment in compensatory revenue has increased significantly in the last few years. Pre-2020, the state consistently allocated around $500 million a year, and that total has increased to nearly $900 million a year. Direct certification is not a new thing. It was first permitted through federal legislation in 1989 and became a nationwide federal requirement to directly certify students for school meals in 2008. And there are many factors for why an individual school's compensatory funds go up or down from one year to the next, let alone a district's. Senator May Quaid asked about the Department of Revenue knowing about family income. The most promising state to look at is New Mexico, who this last school year partnered with their state Department of Revenue exactly how you described. And the task force intends to connect with them and understand how that works. Senator Uma Verbaeten asked about counting reduced price eligible students in the formula as a 0.5, which artificially locks up additional funding in our compensatory dollars for schools. There are 44 states, including DC, with a compensatory-like funding formula. We are the only state in the country that differentiates students in our formula this way. And there are just 3 other states that use student eligibility at the free level for their funding formulas, but no other formula treats reduced price kids differently. We're an outlier in that way. So back to the bill. As you heard, compensatory revenue, critical source of funding for schools that's generated by identifying the concentration of students in poverty enrolled within a building. Schools have wide latitude in how to spend these dollars, and if you look at how it's actually spent, it's essentially used as a per pupil light. Even though these dollars don't necessarily have to be spent solely on the students who generate the funds, in a particularly volatile time for students who generate those dollars, we at Allies definitely support an extension of the hold harmless to help maintain funding levels. But we can't keep doing this. This is really a cold pizza for breakfast bill, and I say that with respect and admiration. Cold pizza for breakfast will get you through to lunch in a pinch. It's definitely easier and quicker than whipping up an omelet, but it's not a super healthy choice to make over and over again. And so too is continuing hold harmless policies in perpetuity. We need to fund our categorical formulas based on concentrations of student poverty, based on actual student enrollment counts, in order to distribute dollars where they are needed most. Weaving in declining enrollment factors on top of hold harmless policies complicates and moves this formula further away from targeting resources, additional resources to schools effectively based on student needs. There are many, many ways out of the compensatory knot we're in. We're spending a lot of time discussing those options on the task force. Hopefully that will result in a future where we have a compensatory formula that is stable, predictable, equitable, fair, accountable, responsive to student needs, and effective in achieving its goals. Till then, Senate File 4368 will get us through. Thank you, Senator Clark, for authoring. Thank you, members of the committee, for your public service to our state.
Thank you, Mr. Shaver. And then lastly, Mr. Yigza, if you are online, if you would.
Yes, I am. Dear Chair and committee members, my name is Samuel Yigza, and I am the Executive Director of Higher Ground Academy. Higher Ground Academy has been serving students and families in the Twin Cities metro area since September 1999. Higher Ground has long been a school of choice for students and families who come primarily from disadvantaged backgrounds. More than 95% of our students qualify for free or reduced price meals, and nearly 60% are classified as English language learners. Despite these challenges, Higher Ground has a strong track record of closing academic achievement gaps. More importantly, year after year, a higher percentage of our students demonstrate academic growth in reading and mathematics as measured by state assessments. Our graduation rates and college enrollment and persistence in college rates are among the highest in the state. Our school makes the Star Tribune's top 50 beat the odd list each year. We have been able to achieve this success by providing highly targeted support to our English language learners and other struggling students, both during the school day and through after-school programs. Regrettably, according to preliminary funding projections using the new compensatory formula, Higher Ground's fiscal year 2027 compensatory education revenue will be reduced by approximately $3.6 million from the previous years, even though we serve the same amount of students qualifying for free and reduced price meals. This will create a very serious budget shortfall for our school and will force us to cut services for our most vulnerable students, those who are already academically struggling, including our English language learners. Such cuts would reverse the significant progress we have made over the years in closing achievement gaps and would place our highest risk students at even greater risk of falling behind. Unfortunately, we would have no option but to reduce staff in programs such as ELL and Title I and increase class sizes by reducing the number of general education teachers. Therefore, we respectfully ask that the hold harmless provision be maintained for the upcoming school year. Thank you for your consideration. Sincerely, Samuel Yigza.
Thank you, Director Yigza. That completes our testimony, and we'll start taking questions. We've got a little under 10 minutes, and we will begin with Senator Lucero.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And the question would be for fiscal staff here. I just want to make sure I'm fully understanding this sheet. So I'm looking at page 5. The top row is STMA, St. Michael, Albertville. Can you clarify the understanding there? I just want to make sure under current law and what would happen in the proposed law, will the dollar amount going to STMA increase or would it decrease?
Mr. Arneson.
Madam Chair and Senator Lucero, in the case of St. Michael Albertville,
under the bill, if it were enacted, with the most current estimates we have, the aid to the district would, relative to current law, would increase by $4,700. That's the amount displayed in column E.
Senator Lucero.
Okay, and just to be sure, that was current law, or that is what would happen under the bill?
Mr. Arneson.
Madam Chair and members, maybe just kind of for the benefit of the whole committee, can I orient the members to the run in general? Yeah, so the run displays district level sums, and as Ms. Erickson described earlier, the compensatory aid formula, aid amounts are actually calculated at the building level. So the run in front of you displays the sum of all the buildings in a district. Column A is the actual aid amounts for fiscal 26. Column B is the estimated aid amounts for fiscal 27 after applying the kind of topping up that would be required under the statewide minimum compensatory aid amount that Ms. Erickson described.
And so column A and B are current law?
Madam Chair and Senator Lucero, that's correct. Yeah. Okay. A would be the actual amounts in fiscal 26, and B would be current law amounts in fiscal 27, using our best estimate available as of today. Column C would be the proposed amounts under this bill. Column D displays the year-over-year change between actual amounts in fiscal 26 and the amounts proposed under this bill for fiscal 27. And column E displays the proposed fiscal year 27 aid amount relative to current law fiscal 27. So members will observe, estimated, right? Estimated. Okay. Right. Members will observe that under the way the bill works mechanically, no district is worse off under the proposal than under current law in fiscal 27. So that's why the values in column E are all positive values.
Thank you.
Thank you for the clarification.
All right. Any other questions? All right, Senator Clark, final words.
Thank you, Chair Kunish, and thank you to the testifiers for the story. This bill is really to make sure that we're ensuring that dollars are going to the students that need it most, the schools that need it most, with maintaining flexibility and giving us a path to ensure that we are headed towards understanding what's happening at each individual school site. So I ask for your support on Senate File 4368.
Thank you, Senator Clark. And Senator Clark renews his motion that Senate File 4368 as amended is recommended to pass and referred to Committee on Finance. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, this bill has been referred to Committee on Finance. Thank you. Members, next week we will convene on Tuesday. The agenda will be posted online later this week. It is 10:26 and we are adjourned.